Welcome to this week's Endurance for Everyone podcast.
Endurance Now Coaching, the relentless pursuit of excellence. Are you looking to increase your fitness level, get stronger, or reach a new goal? There are many people who share that same desire, but often life or injuries get in the way, and their progress slows or even stops. Professional coaching brings a unique element to staying focused, developing the right fitness and nutrition plan, and having a certified coach to help you stay on target and reach your goals. Zendurance Now helps you reach your goals through customized training plans, one-on-one consultation, and constant motivation. Whether you're a local or remote, we've got this. Visit www.zendurancenow.com and learn how we can help you.
Is for entertainment purposes only. Though the hosts of this show are certified Ironman coaches, their attempts at long-course triathlons and endurance events should not be taken as an endorsement for you to do something stupid too. You should make your own bad decisions, then podcast about it. Now, let's start the show.
Episode 97. Are you ready for Thanksgiving, Rob?
Ready as I can be, sir.
You get your stretchy pants on?
Yes. There's a fantastic episode, I believe, of Rules of Engagement, where we had talked about previously, where Jeff finds out maternity pants, and he calls them his magic pants or something like that.
That's right. These are my magic pants. Yes.
I think Friends did a similar thing with Joey. I don't know.
Joey had his
everything
pants.
Nothing is new. It all comes back around. So
exactly. It's still funny though.
Always.
I used to love that show, Rules of Engagement. You know, nobody ever picked up on that really.
I didn't see any of it while it was live. I watched it all.
Right.
Binge watched it on Netflix 2-3 times over. Once it was off the air. So
yeah, right. So that's what I remember it as. Is like it was always on reruns. I don't even know. Can't tell you what night it was on. I had no idea. Yeah. But it was a funny show. Know. But I like the guy that plays Putty. So. I can never remember his name. He was the Tick also, so I can never remember that guy's name. But and he's on the the Hertz commercials now.
I guess I don't watch commercials.
Yeah, you don't watch commercials. Oh,
nope. You're fast forward through everything, John.
Doing the Andrew thing that you don't have live TV.
Yes. No, I do have live TV. We've gone and cut a couple of times and come back to it, but we pretty much record everything. Even like if I was to watch a sports game, whatever, we'll set it to record and then start it like an hour and a half in. Then you get to skip the majority of the commercials and you still catch it live by the end, so nothing's spoiled.
But then you have to like stay off all social media or everything in case someone says the score before you see it. Or does that not bother you?
That's not a challenge for me to stay away from social media, John.
Well, if anything, you can't turn on the radio or anything,
What's a radio?
It's that thing that used to be in the car that doesn't do satellite. It's actually, had like a dial in numbers. You remember?
I don't know.
It's a theory.
I don't. It sounds like a magical device. We'll have to revisit this.
All right. So what are you doing for Thanksgiving? What are you doing for the holiday?
We'll be heading down, meaning going from central PA to southwestern, spending some time with family. So usually we go to my aunt's house for Thanksgiving, and then we'll spend some time there. And then one of the days we'll spend some time with Heather's family. So we're actually it's going to be a little bit longer of a trip. Not that everyone knows or cares too much, but we'll be down there all day Thursday, and then Friday we're going to be getting some family photos. They were given to us as a present whenever for the baby shower. Now that he's 8 months old, we figured probably a good time to use that. Yeah. And then Saturday, my wife has a family thing to go to, and we should be tucking ourselves back in our own beds Saturday night.
So it's not that.
How about you? Chinese buffet or 3 hours ain't that bad.
No. I'm gonna share Thanksgiving with here, so I'm not going home. But Nancy invited me over, so I'm going to go have Thanksgiving with them.
Nice.
So it'll be nice. At least I'm not sitting, last year on Thanksgiving, I was sitting in this apartment. Actually, what did I do? No, that was Christmas. I went for a run. I think I went for a run Thanksgiving too. But I'm going to do a turkey trot that morning. So
official, like an official race, all signed up for it and so forth, or no?
No, I'm going to go out on the road. I'm going to run like a turkey.
Yeah, wave your arms. Little Phoebe Buffet action.
No, actually, yeah, it's an actual turkey trot. Yeah, it's an actual race I signed up for.
Nice.
So
they do a kind of an unofficial one in my town up on our rail trail here, and I've never made it because I've always been going to Pittsburgh to see family. And I've done the Pittsburgh turkey trot a couple of times, and my brother-in-law's brother-in-law, Garmin, he'll be doing the turkey trot, and then that's the 5K, and then I believe they have a 5-miler immediately following it. So he's doing both of those.
That's cool.
But I chose not to sign up for either one of them at this point because my wife and I, when I say my wife and I had hit her with like 6 different things that I want to do next year, and I want her to agree to them. So I figured, not signing up for the races on Thanksgiving would probably be, kind of like save my brownie points.
Yeah, probably hitting her with 6 things at once wasn't, a good idea anyway.
Well, I just let her absorb them all and then see which one she's going to throw out. If you ask for one, she says, no, I'm out. But if I ask for 6, it's like maybe I'll get 1 or 2. So.
I gotcha. Okay. No,
for anybody listening, those things I'm considering for next year, and this only one is time sensitive-ish, maybe 2. The New York Triathlon, first weekend in July. It's an open registration.
You know what? I was just looking at that one.
Well, it used to be a lottery. Now it's open registration. Yeah. So, John, it's a very good race. I would highly recommend it if you're looking at it. Maybe that's more incentive for me to go.
It's funny. I was just looking at it because Team and Training's doing it.
Okay.
And they sent out a thing for Team and Training for the New York City Triathlon. So that's why I was looking at it today.
It is a great event. I mean, I can go through hours of how great of a race it is and why everyone should do it. But it's a little pricey, So
right.
We can do a whole nother show on that. But then the other thing, and like I said, time sensitive. If you're interested, Chicago Marathon will be. Obviously, it's in October every year, October 7th, I want to say, 2018. And there's 10 days left on the registration for the lottery. So for the non-guaranteed, you can put in for their lottery, but you have 10 days to complete the application and get it in. Just because you complete the application doesn't mean you would get in. And then once again, if you don't get in that way, you could obviously still look for a charity spot, or if you're really fast, you could probably go for the guaranteed route. I'm just not that fast.
What is it? October? Now, how much do you have to pay to get into the lottery?
I don't know if they charge for the lottery. Forgive me. I don't know that number.
Okay.
But I want to say it's one of those like New York's is if you get in, they charge your card that day. So it's not like you can wait to pay like 6 months from now.
Yeah.
So between November 30th and December 12th is when they announce if you got in. I believe it's just south of $200 to sign up for it. 189 stands out in my mind, but I might be a little off on that.
So to get into lottery, though, you're having to give them your card information and everything, and then if you're selected, they just hit your card?
Yeah, I'm 99% sure because I was literally entering my information, and I'm like, I might want to run this one by the wife. That's one of those. Sometimes it's better to ask. Yeah, sometimes it's good to ask for permission. Sometimes it's good to ask for forgiveness. I figured permission was better in this case.
Yeah. She's the money manager, right?
She manages everything very well for us.
Yes. Well, then you need to run it by her for sure. Don't let her see that pop up.
No. I've been signing up for my, diet bet, run bet, step bet, and all that stuff. So she's been seeing these minimal charges hitting the credit card for those, and as such, I had to get a lecture. So I'm not. That's a slightly bigger charge, and I should run it by her first.
You got a lecture. That's funny.
Like she took my allowance away for the week.
Oh, really? So much to say there that I shouldn't say.
Say what you want, buddy. It doesn't bother me.
Oh no, I'm going to let that go. What was I going to say? Oh, but I told you last week we started with Team and Training with the swim.
Yes.
And so Saturday was my first. It wasn't really a team event for St. Anthony's because that doesn't really start till December 11th. But we were told to kind of glom on to the Space Coast and the Disney team and just start doing the Saturday team runs. So I went out there Saturday, and
okay.
It's amazing that how many people are on those teams that were on those teams 5 years ago when I was doing it. Because I'm sitting there waiting for people, right? And people are like pulling in. They get out and say, "John, where the hell have you been?"
Hey, welcome back.
Hey, where are you going?
Cheers.
I thought you were racing in Orlando now. I thought you moved to Orlando because I had, when Jennifer moved over to that area, I just started racing with Team and Training for that group.
Right.
So this is the first time I've been back with Space Coast with Suncoast team, probably 3 or 4 years. So so you see all these people. The head of the group, Lyle Jacon, was actually on the cover of Runner's World one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a good runner. They did a whole thing on Team and Training 1 month a few years ago, and he was one of they did like 4 different covers, and he was one of the covers.
That's cool.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. But yeah, it's kind of different being back in a team dynamic again like that, So, and everybody's runs different.
You mean as opposed to just going solo all the time out there, John?
Yeah. Because I'm thinking it's like I was reading an article in I think it was Runner's World or something that said it wasn't an article. It was like this little blip about can a running buddy hurt your performance? Mm-hmm. And the answer basically is yeah, they can, and you have to be really careful. Well, you have to be careful about if you have a specific goal that you find someone to run with that has a similar goal or is not going to either push you too hard or hold you back too much, because it can go either way, right?
Right. That's it. Is no matter what's happening, one person is going to be bringing the other one up.
Right.
The converse that is true. Then somebody is bringing the other person down, and that's
right.
why I say I like running with my friend Brian. He's faster, and that him running with me will be and is, I guess, detrimental to his running. I tried to keep up with him this past Sunday, and that literally, but it's knowing him knowing his stuff and me knowing my stuff, I should say. Because when we were going out and I was making the plan, it was, hey, you want to go do 10? Because we've done 10 the last 2 weekends together. He said, hey, I skipped like this one and I missed that one. He said, so I'm supposed to do 12 at a 7:30 pace. And I said, okay. I said, I don't think I can quite do that. I said, but why don't I join you and see how long I can hang on for? And also it's because I knew roughly the route we would be doing. So if you picture a little circle, but at one point we hit a rail trail, and then so his and mine look almost identical, with the exception of when we hit the rail trail, he went right and went out like a mile and a half, and then he was coming back to get his 12, and I was only going to do 10. As such, though, like I said, I hung on with him for the first, I'm going to say 1.5 miles, 2 miles. And then at about the 2 mile mark, it was just a little bit too quick for me. So I said, hey, you go ahead. But at least at that point, we were on this long straightaway. So I kind of just watched him fade in the distance for the next, 10 minutes or so. We hit that rail trail. Like I said, he went right, I went left. And then we joined back up at the, for the last mile together, like kind of like his cool down and mine finishing out, and it worked out kind of nice, so we weren't completely alone, but we weren't together, but I could not hold that pace. And that's the deal, is, hey, it would have definitely been detrimental to his running if he, because I had to drop back to about an 8:30 mile for those middle miles, where he consequently went from he said, oh, I want to do a 7:30. Yeah, he did him at like a 7:10. So he went even faster.
Yeah. Well, I think in that instance, you have a good running buddy there, is that because he's not changing himself to meet you, and you're not changing yourself to meet him. You're out there running together, and you're just figuring out a way you can do it. Nancy and I did that once, when I had to go further than she was back before, when she was doing the running before her surgery. And, well, you did, she turns around at a certain point, I keep going. And then when I'm coming back, I catch up to her,
Yeah.
So you work it out. I was talking to Jennifer because she's like been, doing these, she's really ramping up for Costa Rica. And, she said, well, you ought to come out and ride with us. But I know if I go out and ride with them, then they're going to smoke me. And I don't want them to hold back on what they need to do to stay with me. So I'm a little leery of that, because I'm not going to be the reason. And I know her and the group that she rides with, they would do that. And I'm not going to. I'm not going to afford that. So I'm not going to afford them that responsibility to have to stay with me. So, it's been a while since I've ridden like this. So it's good in a way. When I looked at the team and training plan, I mean, it's out there. They use a program called Six Cycle. I don't know if you've ever heard it. SIX Cycle.
Nope, have not. How's it work? What is it?
It's like a training app, that they use. It's like, I wouldn't say it's like Training Peaks, but it's got that kind of style, a little bit prettier. It's a little buggy when I've played with it. It's got some issues, but I think it's new. And I think they've partnered with Team and Training to kind of like get themselves out there. But, I've looked at the plan, and it kind of made me snicker because I looked at like February, and it had a Saturday, and it said Saturday long run 3 miles. That was the long run.
A little different than some of your stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that's the long run, and I'd forgotten because St. Anthony's is an Olympic, it's an international distance, so the run is 6.2 miles. So 3 to 4 miles is a long run for that.
Yeah.
So now I have to figure out a way, and I'm getting with Megan now, so I have to figure out a way to keep my training up for the other runs that I'm doing, like Croom and everything like that, and still participate with the team.
Right.
On a couple of days. Now, what I've told her is that I definitely want to do the team swim, which is usually going to be on Tuesday nights, and I definitely want to do the team event on Saturday. But every other day, I'm all hers.
Right.
Right. So, and even Saturday, if I have to run more, I'll do that too. Even if I have to start earlier, I'll just tell them that, okay, I'm going to get there an hour earlier. I'm going to start. I'll be out there already. And then I'll see you.
Now, how many people are at or around your pacing? And I say that because, like, I've joined, some people on a run. Let's just, once again, if they're doing, let's just make it up and say they're doing 15 and I'm doing 5, and sometimes you do, to pace yourself correctly, you want to catch those people early, and sometimes you want to catch them on the end. Like Brian's faster than me, so ideally, once again, he's an animal though. He's very consistent in what he's doing. So I guess I should use myself as an example. I've left when I was in Southwestern PA visiting. I've gone and run from where I was staying to the park. Then I've ran with my brother-in-law. Then I've ran back. That, because that being said is, I was doing a 12-miler. He's doing, we'll say 6. So I'd run over there, then run with him in the middle where I was kind of like, I still had a little bit of fresh legs, but I needed to pull myself back because I still had to run back home, and it's just all about, for me, that's about keeping it consistent with my pacing. Is that something similar you can do? Because you're saying, hey, I'm going to go early. Of course, it could be a time constraint for you. Is that because they are slower than you, or that's just because of the time constraint and that's what's going to make it match up?
Well, I don't know. Because the only people we've been with so far are the people I swam with Tuesday. We had 4 people there for the run. 2 of those people were there. The rest of the have been training for a while. So, what I know is that the St. Anthony's team there's about 20 of us. I've only met 4 people so far because it really hasn't started yet. So from what I've seen, one guy, Steven, is a good runner. He's actually on the Disney team right now. So he was out there doing 17 miles Saturday. So, and he looks like he's in shape to me. You just look at somebody, you can tell, okay, he can run.
Yeah.
One of the women
can't judge a book by its cover, John.
Right, I know that. Yeah, it's very true. But he did 17 miles, so he must be able to do it, right? So
yes.
The woman that was there, she only was doing like 1.5 miles that day. I did 4, a little more, 4.25. So I really don't have a good judge of the abilities of people in there. What I will say is I think I might have said it before though, when we were at the swim thing, they were going to like, who's done a triathlon before? I was the only one there that had done one before.
Yeah.
And PJ, the coach, she said, and I guess I had signed up for the sprint, not the Olympic. And she saw that and she goes, oh, you're not doing the sprint. We're changing that. Because John, come on, you can do the Olympic.
But I want to do the sprint.
My thought there was I was going to sign up for the sprint, and then if going through the training, because it's been a couple of years since I've done a triathlon.
Yeah.
I've done the duathlons, but I wanted to start going through training, and if I felt strong and I felt like, oh, okay, I got this, then I would move up. I didn't want to move down. Right.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
Yeah, the bike and it's almost funny to me to think that, a long ride is to them is like 12 to 14 miles right now. It's like, because that's not even half of what I normally do. So even now, which is going out for a fun ride, I mean, I'm doing 20, 25 miles.
Yeah. But for some people, John, just starting there's a lot of people in our group and listening that they're saying, I can't even fathom going that far.
Yeah, and I wasn't meaning it like that. What I was meaning is that I'd forgotten how that mileage was from 5 years ago, because, this was the first time team and training I did was with St. Anthony's. I had just forgotten that, because I've been doing such longer distances since then, that you forget that, that's a totally different kind of racing. I mean, this is even though it's an Olympic, it's still an all out bang, get it out as fast as you can.
Right.
So, so I'm kind of looking forward to it, though. I want to see what I'm really capable of this time, really pushing it.
You're saying the reins are off. We're going to watch the stallion
I'm really interested.
Trot.
Now, I have to tell you, in the background right now, I have the TV's on, and it's on mute, of course. And they just posted a picture of Manson. Because he died today, right?
Yep.
And I pointed out on Facebook today, is like, that is like the living proof that karma is nonsense. That guy could live to 83 years old and die of natural causes. That shows you that karma is nonsense, because karma was
John,
true.
I'd like to believe you're wrong on that, and I'll say it that way, because the other day when I was walking into TJ Maxx, meeting my wife there, went to Lowe's first and walked over.
What sin did you commit that you had to go to TJ Maxx?
Well, okay. So here, karma points all around, John. So you can let the audience ridicule you for this one. When I was walking into TJ Maxx, I found a purse in the cart I was going to get. So obviously somebody was shopping. So I mean, I could have done the New York City, find all the money, credit cards, and chuck it in the trash can. But I did the right thing, and I picked it up and took it to the counter and, said, I believe somebody left this, And the reason why we were going there is my wife, when I said on Saturday, there's an after Thanksgiving family obligation. The family plays, all the ladies get together and play what they call the dice game, and they all bring like 8 or 10 little like $10 presents, and they all, you play this game and then you collect presents, and then it's like White Elephant where you swap it. And I don't know, I've never been involved in it, but that's what I've heard at least. Okay. But so she was getting some presents for that, but also a few years ago we lost my grandmother, and as such every year now they all get together and they also bring, X amount more for a donation that they give in the name of, my grandmother. And this year they're taking it to the VA hospital. So she was getting socks and blankets and so forth in order to donate, on behalf of my late grandmother. So go ahead, mock that.
I can't mock that. I can't. Well, I have personal instances that show you that karma is not true, but that's just being a good person, man. You're just being a good person.
Mm-hmm. We try. And then also there's the giving tree in our local town. Like they, at the police station, they get, a number of like underprivileged children and so forth, foster care and other stuff like that. And they put the little stuff. In the last couple of years, we've gotten some, you pick a tag and it has like a kid. And, you don't have a name. It's not like, hey, this is, Sean, you don't know that much, but it'll just say name and like what they wanted. Like the one kid, I remember, it's just one of those things. You really don't know how much you have until you realize people that don't have it. The only thing a 13-year-old boy wanted was a blue sweater. I mean, that you got to be pretty hard up if that's the only thing he wants. So it really makes us feel good to help out and do that.
Oh yeah, and they do that at the county too. They have like these big trees, and you select it off there, and you buy the gift that's on that card, and it's always a good thing. Someone on the group. Maybe it was on my personal Facebook page, was talking about they're flying up to see their daughter for Thanksgiving, and while they're up there, they're gonna do the food kitchen thing, on Thanksgiving Day, which is great. I think that's outstanding. I mean, I've done that before myself in the past. Probably something I'll revisit again, because I just think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So speaking of Thanksgiving, how do you even bother like trying to stay good through Thanksgiving, or you just say,
So in years past, I've tried to, quote, stay good. Now, that being said, I mean, it's one of those, I gotta divulge or talk more in depth than to answer your question. And that is, like you heard me say, I signed up for the step bet and the diet bet and all that. So a little bit about that. I can talk more later. There's monthly challenges and there's 6-month-long challenges. Well, one of the ones I signed up for, the month one, it'll be done December 3rd. Okay. So I have X amount of weight to lose by December 3rd, or I'm going to lose the money on that. And I kind of like jumped when my wife said, basically was saying like, I think you could do that, because I wanted to get in and do it. And also I wanted to do it over Thanksgiving, when I'm thinking other people might fail. That sounds bad to say it that way, because I'm figuring I could exert some self-control. Now, that said, I'm 2 weeks in. I have 2 weeks to go. And, I went so my weight, when I say it's yo-yoed, I was eating poorly before for 2 or 3 weeks before I'd weighed in, not intentionally trying to game the system, but just it was one of those, one thing leads to another. So when I eat carby stuff, I retain a lot of water. When I retain water, obviously my weight goes up. So the first day I weighed in, I was like 224. Well, within 4 days of eating good, I was back down to like 216, almost near the goal weight, what I'm supposed to be. And I'm not saying I'm intentionally eating bad, but about 4 out of the last 6 days, it was, going back to last week, it was my wife's open house. Then we had some leftovers. Then it was a friend's birthday, and it adds up, 1 to 2 to 3, and I'm back on the scale this morning, 223, which I know is going to come off fast enough. But for me, like I said, Thanksgiving is usually I will go in, I'll fill my, I'll get a lot of. What I tend to do during holidays or whenever, even like trying to navigate any temptations for me, I'll go in, I'll hit the cheese and pepperoni tray heavy, because that works in the diet for me. Then I go through the line and I'll put like a whole plate full of food, but it's meat heavy, veggies if they're been prepared correctly, steamed or butter. Like I'm not looking for the, corn casserole with breading and all that on, or the breadcrumbs on top of it.
So good.
Oh, it's delicious. I know. Last night I had to turn down stuffing, and stuffing is like my, Achilles heel. Stuffing with a little bit of gravy. I know. So yeah, my mouth's watering just thinking about it. But so like I said, what this Thanksgiving will be, especially coming up, because I won't be able to indulge and then lose 6 pounds within 3 days. So I have to start being strict now, and like today, literally, and ride it out through Thanksgiving. So it'll be a very trying time for me, although it's much easier for me once I've had 3 or 4 days on the front end. If Thanksgiving was to be the first day, they wouldn't happen. I mean, I would have 3 plates of food and 6 helpings of dessert,
Yeah, and, right.
So it's that I gain strength in my willpower the more days I'm doing it. Day one is always the hardest for me.
Yeah. And I was thinking about that today, and it's like last night we were talking about it, and how to get through not just Thanksgiving, but this whole holiday season when you're trying to, not just eat right, but you're trying to maintain some sort of training program. If you've got a race in January, like I've got a race January 6th, I can't afford to slack off during the holidays, but it's very easy to become unmotivated and kind of lose your focus during the holidays because there's a lot going on,
Right.
Not only, especially if you got a big family, you're dealing with travel plans or where you're going, or you're going to this family this time and this family for Christmas, and got to buy little Johnny the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip, and they're all out, and all that kind of stuff. So it just becomes very distracting. And how to kind of get back on track or keep you on track throughout the holidays, so just kind of like thinking about that today. Had a lot of time this morning waiting. So it was kind of like looking through my phone and coming up with stuff. And one thing I kind of did without realizing that it's one of the strategies is to stay motivated is to sign up for a turkey trot and sign up for jingle runs and things like that,
Yeah.
Because
so you basically you're saying one of the, and I don't know where you're getting these strategies from though, is you put the race on the calendar,
right? And
then you need to train to do it.
Right. So it's basically the thing I've said for a while is that I need a race to be able to stay motivated. I need something on my calendar. I need that carrot out there. I'm very bad that if there's nothing on the schedule for 6 months, continuing the train. I have to have that thing I'm working towards. So the one thing we're talking about is like to go in having a plan, and then Megan's very good for that. She doesn't slack off on the training plans because there's holidays. Often she forgets there are holidays, and she'll give you, 10-mile runs on, last Christmas I had a 12-mile run on Christmas Day, but I actually went and did it because I had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So I it worked out, but so to have that long range plan and then to commit to a race during the holiday season, so it kind of gets you on track, right?
Okay.
And so the other thing was like, especially as I just said, if you're dealing with whose family you're going to see, I mean, it's not as big a deal like for you if you're driving. As if you're back Saturday night, you're not going too far, right?
Well, like I said, 3 hours.
3 hours. I mean, that's a drive.
Some people that's more, than they'd want to do, and some people they're like, I got 12, but I don't want to hear it. So there's some people that get on a plane and go all the way to New England or go all the way out to California for the holidays. So what do you how are you going to keep training when you're you're going away for a week or you're going away for 3 days or something like that, right? What happened? Well. Oh, I'm sorry. I was itchy. I apologize.
You were itchy.
I did not hit the mute button. I apologize
to all. Go see a doctor about that.
Like I have a cream.
So, I mean, and the thing to do that, and I think a lot of people that travel know this, but to kind of think ahead and do some intel, like if you're going to Chicago and you're going to stay at this hotel, well, it's all online, what kind of fitness equipment they have there. If you're a member of a national gym like LA Fitness, there's LA Fitnesses everywhere. You know? And if you're a member, even if you don't have the traveling membership, it's like $10 to get to a gym. So you just got to think ahead, right? There's running clubs everywhere. They're going to have things everywhere. So
I was just going to say a couple of things that I've used as travel tips. I guess we could use them as holiday tips. Now, it once again, I'm not saying I'm lying, but I'm condensing and putting things here that I don't need to do now. That said, is my holiday is I always message my brother-in-law and his brother-in-law and to say, hey, you guys want to go for a run? So like I said, he's running already on Thursday. So I'm probably going to run Thursday with my wife. She had said she wants to get out and run. I'm going to see if she wants to go run together. If she wants to run and run separately, that's fine as well. So I'll probably do something little on Thursday myself or with her. Friday then, and I'm going to run Friday and Saturday with Garmin. And that said, we don't have a solid plan, but we're anticipating something like 6 one day, 10 the next. So I don't know if it's going to be 10 then 6 or 6 then 10. Something so it puts a little bit of strain. But once again, we're not going to try to go out, at a 7 pace because I can't sustain that, And so that said, though, this has come down from years of polishing because now, if our other brother-in-law Brad was going, he only ever wants to run in one park, and we always have to go there, and it's the exact same course and the exact same mileage, etc. But if it's going to be Garmin and I, we're going to go to the Montour Trail that's around Pittsburgh, and you have as much distance as you want to run, in any direction. So that's what we're doing here. But it's like you said, as far as traveling, if you're spending the night in a hotel, you can check out the amenities, for what they offer. Something I haven't done, but I have looked into it, such as when I've gone to New York and Chicago, is reaching out to find out. Now relevant to the time of the year. Right now, like you said, you can find the run club, and there's probably going to be some cycle clubs out there. But, I've actually kind of looked and started reaching out, like when I was going to Chicago in the summer, looking for people and or finding somebody that, might have a loaner bike, so that way you don't have to, rent one or travel with one as well. But like I said, me coming to Florida, it's going to be much nicer and warmer and be easier to do that coming your direction.
Yeah.
I sent you a photo last night jokingly and said the sky is falling because we were getting some flurries, and I woke up to, an inch and a half of snow. Yeah. So, that would ruin any outdoor, that ruins any outdoor cycling plans. So, this week is going to be dedicated. When I'm here the next day or two will be trainer. And then, also knowing that I'm going to be run heavy this weekend, I'm going to try to put my swim and my bikes on the next 2 days. So that way I get it done, prior to not having a bike and a pole available to me.
Gotcha. Well, and then the biggest hurdle of the holidays always is the food, right?
Yep.
How do you get?
That's the biggest hurdle of my life.
And the one thing I read was like really good. It's like, the issue is you can't resist a huge holiday meal. And their first way of dealing with it was don't resist it.
Give in?
Yeah, not give in, but be smart about it. You can have, there's ways to do it. And one comment was, don't eat anything that you can have all the time. Like, if you can get the bread all the time, then why are you eating bread? Eat the stuff that's special for the holiday, like the turkey, the stuffing, things like that. And another one they said was like, take small bites of everything. Don't fill your plate, with 2 cups of stuffing. Just take maybe a little, a couple spoonfuls, so you don't feel like you're depriving yourself during the holiday. And I kind of get that, is that, I want to eat it. It's good, right? And it's hard to get through.
I get that in theory, and I understand that there are people who can do that, but it's also knowing yourself as well. And I know that for me, 0 is easier than 1.
Right.
If I have a bite of stuffing, I'm going to have a plate. If I can have no cookies, but as soon as I literally, I have 1 cookie touches my mouth, 4 more in my hand, then I'm going to just keep eating until I'm sick.
So here's the thing. Are you the type of person, though, that if you had a partner that said, put that down, would you get mad about that, or do you?
No.
Like if someone came up to me, well, if someone came up to me, like say I'm at Thanksgiving dinner Thursday, and I'm piling my plate with stuffing. If Nancy came over and said, "Look, you probably shouldn't eat that much. Why don't you put some? You don't need that much." That wouldn't make me mad. I would probably thank her for doing that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But some people get angry at that. It actually makes them do it just out of spite. You're not going to tell me what to eat. Right. I'd like to have a partner.
I can get that, and I get that personality. Yeah, but that's not me. That being said, though, and I had written some blog post years ago and don't anymore. But that being said, and I remember what I had written because my wife and I were trying to lose some weight together, and I remember exactly what she said, and that was I went and picked something up to eat it, and she said, "Don't eat that." She said, "1 leads to 2, and 2 leads to split pants," because
right?
A couple weeks later I'd split a couple weeks earlier, and then I'd split my pants. You know what I mean? And that's it. I don't take much offense to that because I ask her for that.
Yes,
that said, though, is everyone, it's knowing, and if she listens to this, hi Heather, I love you dearly. But that said, is she does take offense to things and it's always the classic argument, man versus woman. It's, you said this, and I say, no, I didn't say this, and she's like, well, your tone implied it. No, my tone didn't imply it, but you're reading into it, and I'm sorry that you're upset, but I'm not sorry for what I said because I didn't mean it that way.
Right.
But that said too, though, is and I know once and once only she's ever admit, or not must admit, she's always says, you're judging me. I'm like, I'm not judging you. Well, I feel like you are. Well, I'm sorry if you feel like I am, but I'm not.
But
that's where like
that comes from her. I'm not going to say about her, but in general, because I don't know her. I know when I've reacted that way, it's because I'm already killing myself over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's my own guilt coming out. Yeah,
and that's
true.
my assumption with that. But it's like her, like I said, and that's, I've tried it both ways. And when I say it this way, I've tried signing her up for the exercise classes or buying her the stuff, you know what I mean? And then she gets upset with, you're calling me fat and saying I need to do this.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
this is what I enjoy. I thought you might enjoy it as well. And I've tried the complete hands off, and then it's, well, you only care about yourself and you never want to include me. So I personally haven't found that balance with her. But as everyone out there knows, we've all hit, and I'm just once again using myself as the example, we've all hit the tipping point, whatever it is, and I'm going to jump into it, And I remember that being from the first marathon I decided to train for, and I went from nothing. 26-week plan, the first 10 or was going from nothing to running 3 miles, and then this next 16 weeks was building up. Okay, I've gone from nothing to marathon to 3-4 months afterwards, like not taking a step or running for a few months, and then going back out and not being able to run to the next mailbox.
Oh, yeah.
And we've all been there, and we all know our own demons. We all know our own triggers, and if you can learn and figure out the ones of your partners or your friends, you know what I mean? That's why I never mean nor say anything with any hate, malice, or judgment, but I can understand from her end how if I'm saying something, it could come off as judgmental, so I try to watch what I say, how I say it, when I do, and or you had mentioned it several shows ago, not that it's a new concept, humble bragging, you know what I mean? So when I come in from a run, she asks how it was. It's always just a little shake, nod of the head, and it was good. I don't want to say, oh, it was the greatest run ever. You got to get out there and try it. And I never want to say, oh, it was terrible. I only did 10, because that would be, huge for her to be able to go out and do that. You know what I mean? And I just know it. So I just kind of just shake my head and just shoot it right up the middle. And there it is.
Well,
so,
yeah,
sorry for that deviation.
But, that's a hard way to, I'm probably getting in trouble for saying it, but that's kind of a hard way to have to go through things, to have to always be careful about how you put things, because we know how we mean it, and it's always, I think it's like, and I'll use it to myself. If someone says, something to me, I know they don't mean harm to me for the most part. Right. But, if I take it the wrong way, if I say, Andrew and I used to talk about this, I don't like being called big guy.
Okay.
I don't like it. It irritates me because I say, you know what? That's like you're calling me fat. I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'10". I'm not a big guy. So you be saying, hey, big guy. Well, why don't you just say fat guy? Because that's what you mean. And Andrew and I had talked about that a lot on the old show, if you remember. I know they don't mean that. In my head, that's what they mean. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I had to work on my own issue there, saying, I know they don't mean that. Especially if it's someone that's your friend, or someone who knows you. They don't mean that. So it was my own issue. So if someone said, if I say, or you say to a woman is like, or anybody, it doesn't have to be a woman, anybody saying, why don't you come running with me or something like that? We're not saying that you need to go running because you're gaining weight, but some people are going to take it like that. And
we're just saying, hey, I'm going to do this. I enjoy it. Maybe you'd enjoy it as well.
But that's what I'm saying. Is like, we know we don't mean that. And most people aren't like that. There are some jackasses out there that do say things like that. But,
I'll share one story there. And that I hear what you're saying. I'm sorry if I've ever called you big guy. But, usually that's when I don't remember.
I've gotten over it.
Hey, Chief, hey, this, hey, that,
Yeah.
But there was... And it's a very similar, but it is I'm going to say I'm going to go down a rabbit hole, but not very deep. I don't take offense to much, nor do I ever mean offense by it, by things. And I say it that way because, like, I understand sometimes how people put hatred into certain terms, derogatory and all, well, we won't go down a list of any of it, right? And sometimes, when it's really said, it's with hate and malice, there's never any acceptance with that. But, I'm going to say friends using terms for each other shouldn't you shouldn't, the people that, overhearing it, and then get mad in restaurants and stuff like that. I don't like when people are too overly sensitive to stuff. That said, though, and I'm using not going down that hole any farther, I always like to encourage anyone I can to get out and exercise or to get into triathlon. I love the sport that much that I will help and encourage anyone. And my wife avidly picks on me because I've set up a fake transition in my garage and in my driveway more than once using ladders and pipes and pulled bikes out of upstairs just to show people this is what you do and here's how you can lay it out this way and it saves you a few seconds. I get really into it. Okay.
That's good though.
And right. But I also will always use myself in a self-deprecating way. If I can do it, you can do it. If I can go out and do this, you can do it. But only one person in the last 10 years has ever come across with it when I say, and it was offensive to me. And that was because I'm sitting there talking about triathlon and the guy's just standing there listening, and he says, okay, and he hasn't done any exercise. He's a naturally thin person, and as such, thinks the world of himself. And that is evident by whenever he said, oh, okay. And what do? You swim how far? Okay. And then you bike how far? Okay. And you run how far? Okay. Well, I haven't really trained. And the race I was doing was a month away. And he says, but I think what do you do it in? I said, about 108. Okay. Yeah. I think I can cold turkey that and probably do that in about a 104. Really? You haven't done any of this stuff, period? This is the first time you're hearing of it?
And you think irritating, yeah.
And you think you can beat me by 4 minutes? And that's that. But was just like I said, you could hear the intent, like the look at you. I could do it better.
Oh no, I had someone actually say it that way to me when we were talking. It was at work, and we were talking about it was when I first met him, and he actually ended up becoming a friend of mine. But and I talked to him about it later. I said, it's kind of a bullshit thing to say, but we were talking about it, and he says, well, if you can do it, I could probably, go out there and do it, and probably at least as fast as you do it. It's like, really? What the harsh thing is that he probably could, but but it still is so condescending, to say, oh, well, you weigh 250, I weigh, 165, 170. I should be able to do that. Just give me a bike. I can go do that.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, dude, really?
Yep.
And I don't think it was meant in malice, because when I've talked to him about it later, he goes, oh, I didn't mean it like that. And I said, yeah, I know you didn't, but it's still, that's how it comes across. It's like, I've trained for this for years, and you're saying I just go out there. I've never done that before, but I could probably go out there and do it. Look at you. If you can do it, I can do it. But I've said that to people. If I can do it, you can do it.
Yep.
It's okay if I say it. So it's okay if I say it messed up things with my family, but you better not say it, right?
Exactly.
So, I was thinking about something. Oh, about the constant snacking too with the food. There's food all over the place all the time, especially at work.
Yeah.
I think Nancy was telling me they had a potluck today, and all the food that was out there, and there was I don't know where I got it from, but I was reading about the constant snacking during the holidays, and it's actually more damaging to you to constantly snack on everything than the one huge holiday meal.
Now, what's science behind it? I agree with it, but my question is, what science were they using to back it up? Basically the blood sugars, and it's better to have one hit than the constant grazing?
That's
or what?
Exactly what they were saying, is that if you sit down for a huge holiday meal and you have turkey, and honestly, you can have a decent holiday meal, right? And not really bust yourself too much. Because if you think about it, it's like if you have 4 ounces of turkey is 300 calories. There's no carbs in turkey. Sweet potato, a couple ounces of sweet potatoes, 100 calories. Mashed potatoes is 100 calories over 4 ounces.
Well, sweet potato, not sweet potato casserole.
Right, sweet potatoes, not sweet potato casserole with the marshmallows on top.
And brown sugar.
Plain veggies, you can eat as much of that as you want. You could still have, if you have all that, you can still have a normal slice of pumpkin pie, and you're going to come in under 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
So it's not, you can eat decently healthy during a Thanksgiving meal. But it's all those it's all those pies, and it's all those cakes, and it's all that candy, especially at Christmas. The peppermint bark, stuff like that. That's what gets you, because you're constantly, you're not paying attention, because you're just, I'm walking by, I'm going to grab a piece. I'm going to walk by, I'm going to grab a piece. Things like that. It's actually hurts you more, because instead of that one hit, like you were saying, that one hit for that one meal, you're constantly spiking your insulin throughout the whole day. It's never coming down.
Right.
So you're going to gain weight. Now I'll tell you, speaking of eating, and I know shit because I am full disclosure, right? I've had a lot of stress the last week. We talked offline about something, things that happened, and something happened today. I've gained almost 8 pounds in the last week.
That's significant swing.
8 pounds. Now I lost almost a couple today from yesterday, but I know, and I can say, and I can sit there, and it's like I was talking to Nance about it. It's like, I can't believe this. I've gained 8 pounds, blah, 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 blah. And she's, you just look at me and say, well, why did you gain it? What have you been eating? And I have to be honest about it. I was eating badly because of the stress. Yep. And you don't even realize you're doing it. But I go in I come to my apartment, I open my pantry, and there's like, Jif peanut butter in there, and there's pancake mix, which I have not made yet, but there's pancake mix in there now. Instant oatmeal, stuff I never buy. Why the hell am I buying it? Because I was stressed and I just wanted to eat. I fell right back into it, and and that's what happens. But part of the issue, I think Vinny's said it before, and I thought it was kind of weird, kind of cool that your interview, that they mentioned Vinny Tortorich in that interview as well. Everybody comes. Yeah. Everybody's met each other through Vinny. Have you noticed that?
He does seem to be the common tie that binds everything together.
Exactly right. I met Andrew through Vinny. I met Randy Messman through that. Probably met you through there, right?
Yep.
At some point, yeah. So it's like, we have to do this tree where everybody is like linked to each other, and Vinny would probably be in the center of it.
Is this like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Exactly.
It's all like 2 degrees to Vinny Tortorich.
We can all link ourselves to Vinny Tortorich, within 6 degrees. It's kind of amazing, that you hear him talked about a lot. I think he's probably is aware of it, knowing Vinny, but it's kind of a cool thing if you think about it.
Yes.
So that's what I have. I did want to say something about a couple things.
I want to jump in on what you were just saying, though.
Go ahead.
I want to just circle back, and I'm gonna be dad in this scenario, John, and lecture you a little bit, but
right.
With what Vinny says as well, and that's you got to know yourself. I know my problem. You're talking about the snacking and the grazing. That is bad. I do that all the time. And that being said, is like, if I'm actively moving around, I'm fine. But if I'm sitting still watching TV or hanging out, that's when I just start mindlessly eating, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, especially during the holidays when I'm just sitting around. So one of the things I try to do, and anyone can feel free to try this as well, is, first and foremost, if I'm gonna, I make stupid little rules for myself. Like, I was just crushing the cookies the last couple of days because they were in the house. Okay. And I go through the rationale the same. Oh, if I eat them all right now tonight, then they're gone, and they're, it's just one big hit. But that said too, is we have some, when I say ice cream, my wife bought these Julie's organic, whatever, which we have these little sorbet bars, and they're fine. When I say they're fine, they're okay. They're a small portion, but they're still sugar. And she's like, but they're fine. Look, it's natural because it's organic sugar. Like, it's still sugar. Doesn't do well for me. But that's sugar. Why, So, but that being said, is I have a bite and then I end up eating a pint of it. And so what I've ended up doing is, I play a little game with myself, and that is, I set an arbitrary rule of I can't have any ice cream if there's fruit in the house. So we have apples, pears, and bananas, which those are still a sugary fruit. It's still a sugary treat, But eating banana is much better than eating, 400 calories of, ice cream or sherbet or sorbet or whatever those things are, right? Yeah. And I do the same thing whenever I'm if I'm at a family function. That being said is, I try to always have a glass of water with me, some drinking, some well over hydrating, because then if you drink more, you tend to eat less, for me at least. Secondarily, too, though, is then it gives me the opportunity of I'm out of water, stand up and go refill my glass. Also, when I'm up, and it makes you seem polite for other people. Hey, can I get you a drink? Can I, you know what I mean? If your hands are full and you're carrying stuff for other people, you're less likely to stop and shove stuff in your mouth. Lastly is, this is the dad part of it. Hey, John, you can't eat it if it's not in your house. So I highly recommend tis the season. Why not put that stuff before you even open it? Put it right back into a bag and go donate it to Salvation Army or the kitchen or the pantry, local pantry or whatever it is. You can't eat it if it's not there.
Yeah, it's a good.
And that's why, my wife, there's certain things we leave out on the counter, and there's certain things that when she buys it, there's certain cabinets that I don't even look in or go in. And, if she wants something, it's fine. If she leaves it on the counter, I'm going to eat it, whatever it is. But if she puts it, away, I don't go looking for it. Once again, I set little arbitrary rules. It seems to work for me. This is what I can do, what I can't do. This is what's on limits, off limits, etc. Sorry. No, I just figured I'd share those because you were saying tips or tricks. That's the only way I can get through on some of that stuff.
Yeah, that was one of the easiest lectures I've ever gotten. And it's nothing I didn't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have sometimes you have to have somebody to say it to you.
Yeah. It's not for lack of knowledge, just for lack of execution.
Yeah, exactly right. So, what I was going to say is that we started talking about there's a little race down here in Tampa, a little weekend called Gasparilla.
Okay.
If you don't know about Gasparilla, it's kind of like.
Did I see that in the group?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
But they have Gasparilla in Tampa is a big thing. It's like the Pirates come to Tampa. It's like a celebration of when the Pirates stormed Tampa, things like that. But they do have a Gasparilla race weekend. Not the same weekend as Gasparilla Parade and all that. But what they do is they have a 5K, 15K, a 5+3, and a half marathon over 2 days. Now, you can do all four, and it's called the Ultra. But we started talking about the half marathon and trying to get maybe people in the group like coming down and doing it as a teamE4E event. And I know that Steve and Nancy, of course, Dave Baldwin actually has expressed interest, Christine Cox. So it looks like we're kind of building that up. So if any of the listeners are in the area or even in Florida or want to come down in February, let us know, and we're going to try to build the team for Gasparilla.
Cool.
Maybe as the first real,
do the first 3 people that sign up get to stay with you, John?
If they want to stay in this little ass apartment, they're more than welcome to. I did offer my
Bring
apartment.
your own bunk bed.
Yeah, I did offer my apartment to somebody in Orlando if they wanted to come over and do it. So, because there's a couch in my bed, so it's not like everybody's going to be on top of each other. But it's a small apartment.
But Gasparilla south of where you're at, I'm trying to think. There was some race in there that you guys were talking about, and I looked, but it was like an hour south of Tampa. And the only reason
that's the Sarasota one.
Oh, okay. Because I had looked because my dad has that place in the Villages, but that's still like an hour and a half from you. Because I'm like, oh, okay. But then again, it's if I come down to hang out with my dad, if there was somewhere northeast of you that would be like a half-hour drive, that would be easy. Go out, do it, come back, and only kill us.
The Villages is like 80 miles away from me. It's north. Mm-hmm. It's just north of me. So it's Gasparilla is here in Tampa. So it's like actually it's a 15-minute drive from my house. So from the Villages, you're maybe talking about an hour and a half drive, 2-hour drive.
Yeah,
it's a huge event though. It's like it rivals Disney. Everybody's out there. So, and it's a good course because you're running around the bay, you're running through Davis Island, you run right by Derek Jeter's house. So it's kind of a cool event.
Well, I hope people sign up and come down and visit you. I cannot verbal a commitment on that, but I will be checking it out.
Well, right. Well, and if you're going to come down and see your dad, you need to let us know, and then we'll see if there's any races in that time frame. And if not, then I can always go ride with you, because the trail goes right through the villages. The rails to trail thing here goes through Withlacoochee and everything. So.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I see.
I do have a bike down there. It's my old man cruiser, like 3-speed, twist shift. So I might.
You'd still beat me. So
on a downhill only, with the wind at my back.
So that's all I got for this week. I want to say, you have a great holiday. Okay.
You as well.
And eat
I know you're not traveling, but be safe when you're out. Same to you. And if you need a sponsor, John, you need a little bit of encouragement, just feel free to text me. And anyone else out there, as myself.
I'm going to take a picture. I'm about to eat this. Stop me.
I can do that. I'll be your voice for a reason. I'm just going to keep stop. I'm just going to stop just in the phone, and whenever you send me a text, that's going to be the auto reply. Yeah. No, stop.
All right, man. So we'll plan on next week.
Sounds good.
Maybe we'll see how we got. We'll talk about how we got through the holiday, how we did.
We'll check in. That sounds good.
All right. Until next week.
Okay, talk to you, John.
All right, bye.
Thanks for listening to the Endurance for Everyone podcast. If you have comments or questions for the show, send an email to teamE4E at enduranceforeveryone.com. And remember, swim calm, bike strong, and run steady.
Zendurance Now Coaching, the relentless pursuit of excellence. Are you looking to increase your fitness level, get stronger, or reach a new goal? There are many people who share that same desire, but often life or injuries get in the way, and their progress slows or even stops. Professional coaching brings a unique element to staying focused, developing the right fitness and nutrition plan, and having a certified coach to help you stay on target and reach your goals. Zendurance Now helps you reach your goals through customized training plans, one-on-one consultation, and constant motivation. Whether you're a local or remote, we've got this. Visit www.zendurancenow.com and learn how we can help you.